All right, guys, this is doing a quick sound check. Okay, it looks like we're good to go. Sorry, I'm starting a bit early today. Yeah, my kid actually went to sleep a lot faster than I expected. So yeah, we're good to go. So as I mentioned to you guys on Tuesday that I will carry on with this one, particularly the quadratics. We kind of did some work on quadratics on Tuesday, and then I want to just carry on with that quadratics work again today. And then I think after this, what's our next session after this? After quadratics, we will be doing simplifying and solving. That's going to be on Sunday, unless we decide to do it a bit earlier. But that should be all right. So these are the 5 questions we're going to be looking at today, folks. So we'll start off. I'll leave this up here for you guys for a few minutes so that you guys can actually take a screenshot of it. So if you want to work ahead and go ahead and do it on your own, then you can. What else? Yeah, so we'll just kind of go through it slowly with questions. I just realized what I just did there. I put A, B, C. Maybe I should have done 1, 2, 3. And maybe get rid of these things here. Yeah, so we'll do some 3 simple problems on quadratic, and then we're going to do like 2 of those L-shaped questions, which ends up being like excellence. No worries, Cyphers. You're going to be fine. Just keep working through my tutorials and just keep practicing. You're going to be absolutely fine. All right. Okay, so what I might do is I might just kick things off in about a minute, just waiting for a few more folks to jump in, and then we can, yeah, we can just go straight into it. But like I said, if you want to just screenshot this somewhere so you can kind of work through those questions, you can do that as well. All right, so let's get started with question 1. I went straight into some, I guess I wouldn't call these easy quadratics. These are the quadratics where the a value is not 1. What I mean by the a value is the coefficient of x squared. As you can see, none of these ones have a coefficient that's actually equal to 1. So which means we're not going to have like the straightforward factorizing it. You'll also notice that I went straight into solving these questions because if you are factorizing, well, to solve, we have to factorize first. So we're kind of doing like 2 things at the same time. So let's get started. So we're going to do the first question here. What do we got? Question 1. So we've got 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals to 0. Now, like I said to you guys in the previous video, you can actually guess and check this if you want to. You can use the quadratic formula if you're confident using the quadratic formula and you've done it before. You could use the quadratic formula. Yeah, ultimately you just got to figure out what's going to work for you. And then just stick by it, all right? So the way that I go about doing this is I take these 2 numbers here. So that's the 2 and negative 1, and I multiply it together, which gives me negative 2. Then my next step is to actually figure out 2 numbers that multiply to negative 2 and also add up to negative 1. Now, if you're wondering where I got this negative 1 from, so the negative 1 is actually from here, the coefficient of x, and of course the negative 2 is from the 2 times negative 1, which happens to be this part right here. So at the moment I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to minus 2 and add to negative 1. I did make like this one quite simple so we can kind of get a nice start to it. So in this case it's going to be negative 2 and positive 1. Negative 2 and positive 1. So if you guys have a look, negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2, and when you add those 2 numbers up, you're going to get -1. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split that -1 up. So instead of writing it as 2x squared minus x, we're going to write this as minus 2x plus 1x, and then we're going to leave the -1 as is. All right, so once we do that, our next part is then factorizing by parts. So we're going to split this up into two parts here. All right, so on the on the two things that are on the right-hand side of the red line and the two things on the left-hand side of the red line as well. So I'm looking at the left-hand side first, and I can see straight away that I've got 2 as a common factor, and x is also a common factor, so I can take it out. So what I'm going to end up with is 2x minus 1. As for the next one, I've got x minus 1. Now, you might be thinking, if I've got x minus 1, what's the common factor? Hey, Osnola, welcome here, mate. So we can just take 1 out, just 1 as a common factor, because we need to put them in that bracket format, all right? So it's going to be 1 times x minus 1 equals to 0. Now what we can see is that we've got x minus 1 here. We've also got x minus 1, which means we can factorize this as x minus 1 is a common factor. And what we have left over is 2x plus 1. So the 2x plus 1 is there, and if you want to try and figure out where the 2x plus 1 came from, we got 2x from there, and the positive 1 comes from here. So this is basically your factorizing your quadratic, right? Now, we're not done with this question because we actually need to solve it. We need to solve for these two answers. And so to do that, what we have is we've got 2x plus 1 equals to 0, or x minus 1 equals to 0. Now, the first one here, we can kind of just rearrange. So taking the -1 to the right-hand side will become positive 1. Nice and simple. X equals to 1. And on the other side, we've got 2x plus 1. So I'm going to take the positive 1 to the right-hand side, which becomes -1. And then I've got to get rid of the 2. And because the 2 is getting multiplied by, because the 2 is getting multiplied, it will be, when I bring it to the other side, it'll become divide. Sorry, Cyphers, yes, it will be available. All of my streams that I run, they all go up on a playlist. So pretty much, yeah, all of the past streams are available. So there's like enough revision material for you. Yeah, I reckon. I think I can put a challenge out to you, Cyphers. You know, if you watch every video that I made on level 1 MCAT, I don't think you will finish watching all of them by the time MCAT actually starts. I get a feeling, because that's how much stuff I've actually ended up making. Anyway, look, so those are our two answers right now. So if you have a look at it, our first answer is x equals -1/2, and our second answer is x equals to 1. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to put some numbers here, which are, how do I say this? So if folks don't understand how I did it at a particular line, I'm just going to put these numbers, and you guys can tell me which line you didn't understand from. All right, so I can help you guys out with that as well. So as you can see, there are 6 lines in this working out here. Of course, we'll actually add these 2 parts here as well, 7 and 8, just in case. So let me know if there's any part that you guys didn't actually understand. Then I'm happy to go over it again. Otherwise, while we are waiting, I might actually just give another question, which is kind of similar, so that if people are comfortable with it, they can just kind of carry on. So if you are comfortable with this question, then you guys could try and factorize this here. Solve, actually. How did you get to line 2? Hey, Ricciardi, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, I got bored with doing some of my junior maths because in my junior maths I don't get to do any of this. So it's always nice to come in once MCAT season starts, just to start doing some of the senior stuff. Josh, probably be looking at after the MCAT is over, man. I'm gonna go back to Malika's question there. How did I get to line two? Line two, all I've done is factorized. So if you think about this, I'm just going to write this separately so you can see how I got from line one. So remember, this is line one right now. 2x squared minus 2x plus 1x minus 1. So all I've done is, so if you look at it, if that red line is going through it like that, so I'm factorizing this first. All right, if I factorize this first, 2x is a common factor, and then I've got x minus 1. Then I'm going to factorize these two things, and the only thing that's common between these x and negative 1 is just the number 1. So therefore, that's going to be plus 1x minus 1. So that is basically how I go from line 1 to line 2. Hope that helped, Malika. All right, guys, if we are okay with it, have a go with question 1b. Oh no, Fatima, in this case, remember, that's only the case if you're working with context. Like when I say context, like let's say we're working with a area question, right? Or a distance question, like measurement question. So if you're doing like a measurement question, then of course you can't have a negative answer for the measurement. But this is just an equation. So if it's just an equation, x can actually be both values. All right, because if we actually put negative half on that 2x squared minus x minus 1, you're going to get equal to 0. So what I'm trying to say is, like, if you, I wonder if I have a, I don't think I have a calculator ready to go. Do I? Actually, no, I do. So let me show you here on the side. This should work. See, the one time I try to use a calculator, it just messes up. Okay, that's fine. Let's bring it here. So what was our equation? Our equation was 2x squared minus x minus 1. So if you have a look at this, I'm going to put 2 multiplied by a half, which is 1 over 2 to the power of 2. So that's a squared minus, oh, that should be negative half, isn't it? My mistake. I'm just trying to show you why negative half is there's nothing wrong with that answer. So minus x minus 1. So as you guys can see, this is not because it's not a measurement question, yeah, so it's straightforward. You can actually have negative half as an answer. Okay, so let's go through with question 1b, and then after that I'm going to go to question number 2. Arjun, there is no such thing as hardest skill to learn for MCAT. It's the way the MCAT is done is that it makes you use all the skills that you've done. So I would say that if you practice all the skills, then the challenge for you is knowing which skill to use for which problem. And by doing lots of questions, like old questions, past paper exams and things like that, you start to kind of see the patterns of questions that keep appearing. So which is why the way I run my tutorials is like I hang around the merit questions a lot, because if you get like 3 merit questions correct, you get a merit. And the thing is, like, most of the merit questions that I do, you end up covering most of the skills that you're going to need for it. All right, so let's go to question 1b now. So as I said, the first step that I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be multiplying 6 and 10. So 6 times 10 is 60, and what I'm looking for is two numbers that multiply to 60 but add up to 19. So just to see that 19 is actually from here, and the 60 is from the 6 times 10. So at this point, I can tell you that it's 15 and 4. Now, sometimes people get stuck with this part as well. They go, like I don't, I can't do, I don't know what all the numbers that go 60, right? So what you can do is, and this is a really good trick to have for working out your factors, is when you have 60, you can actually break it down into prime factors. So this would be like 2 and 30. Break it down further, you've got 2 and 15. Break it down further, you've got 3 and 5. All right. And so what you're really looking for is the combination of 19. So somewhere where you can actually get the total to be 19. And you can kind of see that this branch here actually adds up to 19. So you can kind of say that 4 times 15 is equal to 60. So it's just like another little tip for you guys. But anyway, so we're going to go with 15 and 4. And we're going to replace that 6x squared, sorry, not 6x squared, we're going to replace the 19x with the 15x plus 4x plus 10 equals to 0. Walter Muller, if I said that right, sorry. When do you go over excellence questions? Usually what I do is with excellence questions, I kind of go towards the end of the tutorial. So I start off with like achieve merit, kind of borderline achieve merit questions, and then move slowly into merit excellence, so that people can get an idea of I just build up the questions. So if you go to my past tutorials, you'll find that generally speaking, the last 15 minutes of the streams tend to be like excellence questions. Okay, so now that we've got here, we are going to split this up into two parts. So I'm going to factorize 6x squared and 15x, and I can see that 3x is a common factor. So this would be 2x plus 5. And then on this side, I can see 2 is a common factor, which means I'm going to get 2x plus 5. Generally speaking, those two brackets should have the same, whatever's inside those two brackets must be the same, all right? So in this case, we've actually got 2x plus 5 as a common factor. So I'm going to write that down first. 2x plus 5 multiplied, and this time it's going to be 3x plus 2, which equals to 0. So 3x plus 2, basically the 3x comes from there, and the plus 2 is from there. So once we have those two brackets, we can actually say that each of those brackets is equal to 0. So 2x plus 5 equals to 0, or 3x plus 2 equals to 0. So rearranging, we've got 2x equals minus 5, because when positive 5 shifted over to the right hand side is minus, and then x is equal to negative 5 divided by 2. And as for the second answer, we've got 3x is equal to minus 2, and then x is equal to minus 2 divided by positive 3. So those are my two answers for this particular question. I've got x is equal to negative 5 over 2 or negative 2 over 3. So once again, guys, I'm going to put up some line numbers. Let me know if you guys are okay with it. So spicy chicken wings, this ends up like, this is an odd question, right? Like they would usually give this question as a context question, so it'll be a merit. I think if they do give it as a standard, I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me just have a look at the what was the papers that we did last year? Exam papers. They had a substitution double. Oh, no. It looks like it's a merit, by the way. because 2 years ago they had a question like this, which ends up being a merit. What happened earlier this year? I'm just going to have a quick look. Sorry, guys. So, no, that's different. Trying to find a quadratic question. Or maybe they didn't have it. Yeah, I know that 2 years ago that particular paper was actually that type of question was actually ended up being a merit. So just yeah, don't know what they'll try and do this year. How did I get to line 3? Line 3 is because if you look at the green highlighted things, they're actually on both sides of the equation. So I just bring it together like that because it's a common factor in itself. So it's kind of like saying like this. So if I show you on the side here, if I do something like this, 3xy plus 2y, and imagine y right now is the common factor, so then I can take out y as a common factor, and what I'll be left over with is 3x plus 2 like this. So this is pretty much what I've done in line 3. So where I've actually treated that 2x plus 5 as like a green common factor that I'm actually taking out. Yeah, Anton, don't even go near Unimaths, man. I failed Unimaths for like 5 years before I got my act together and started doing some normal stuff. Um, Spades, does t actually like do you actually have t equals to something or is t equal to 0? Sorry, Malika, did that make I hope that made sense. Spades, yeah, I probably need like 3n squared, 3 numbers, -3 and 3. Spades, what I'm going to ask you is, can you maybe screenshot the whole question and send it to my email, mate? I'll have a look at it. All right, so we are going to go line 3 again, please. All right, yeah, no worries, Arjun. So if you look at both of those questions, I'll put up line 3 on both ends. I know in the previous one it was line 2. Was it? No. Line 2, line 3. Yeah, line 3. So if you look at what's actually highlighted, you can see in the left-hand side's question, you've got orange that's highlighted, and in the right-hand side, you've got the green part that's actually highlighted. So because the whole highlighted area is common between both of those terms, I could almost take that entire thing out as separately. So if you go back to here, so imagine I have something like 3xy plus 2y. And because y is a common factor between both of these terms, I could actually take y out. And then what happens is when I take y out as a common factor, 3x is left over and 2 is left over. Pretty much the same idea is happening at 1b. Yes, Spades, just drop it there and I'll maybe have a look at it later on today, man. Cool, guys. We're just going to keep moving on now. So we're going to question 2. So question 2 was 4x squared minus 25 equals to 0. Now, on the odd occasion, you will see a question like this. All right. So, and what I've seen people do is maybe later on win level 2 algebra, but right now just focusing on the MCAT, man. So with number two, sometimes you get a question like this, where it's 4x squared minus 25 equals to 0. Now, this is very similar to when you see a question like this, x squared minus 9. Because x squared minus 9, you just factorize this as difference of two squares, so it's x minus 3 and x plus 3. Now, on the odd occasion, what I've seen people do with these types of questions with number 2 is they end up doing this, 4x squared equals to positive 25, and then x squared is equal to 25 divided by 4, and then they do this, x is equal to square root of 25 over 4. So you're going to end up with 5 over 2. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's actually two answers for this question. John Wick, you're definitely on the right track. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this out for a little bit. So what you really need to do in this question is have a look at this. So that is 4x squared. It's actually a square number. 25, it's also a square number, which means we're looking at difference of two squares, which means whenever you see something like this, you straight away put them into two brackets and write down square root of 4x squared is 2x and 2x. Square root of 25 is positive 5 and 5. And the only thing that you need to add on is a plus and a minus. So John Wick, what you did was right. You factorized it, but I'm looking for the solution for this. I'm actually looking for when it equals to 0. So that means you got to go 2x plus 5 equals to 0, or 2x minus 5 equals to 0. And when we do this, our first answer, we're going to get 2x is equal to negative 5, and then x is equal to negative 5 over 2. As for the second one, we've got 2x is equal to positive 5, and x is equal to positive 5 over 2. So you can kind of see that for this question, we're going to get two answers. Our first answer is negative 5 over 2, and our second answer is 5 over 2. That's all right, John. So one other thing is I'm going to go back to this method right here. And this is something very useful to remember. Whenever you're working with square root symbols in algebra, especially at this level, when you take square root of a number, it's going to be positive, plus or minus. So really, you could have actually done this method here. But the only thing you need to remember right at the end is that when you take square root, you're going to get x is equal to plus or minus 5 over 2. In other words, this answer is negative 5 over 2 or positive 5 over 2. So that's just something to worth remembering for. Are you guys okay with this question? Do I need to do another one, or can we actually move on to question 3? Cool. So what did I have for question 3? I had 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Yep, sure. What I'll do is on the side there, I'm just going to put a real quick one there for you to try and have a go. 9x squared. There you go. Try that, and then I'm just going to write, sorry, I'm just going to grab that question 3, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. So here we go, guys. We got two questions there. We've got 2b, and then we've got 3. So if you do want to have a crack at 2b, you can try that again. Chronics, hang on. Chronics, the D&D books, yeah, man. Like, I mean, I always say this. It's like, it's how do I put this? Like every book is like some books are good, some books are not so good. It really depends on your style of learning. Some people like they want every bit of the working set out, and some people like just happy with the answers at the back of the book. So I would actually say try and have a look through both books. Just see which one you feel is going to help you. Because I've had mixed reviews from them. Like I've had people that said D&D works for them. Some people like the Walker Matz books. So yeah, so I would, I'd actually say just have a look through both of them just to see which one you prefer. Spades, it's weird that you say that because the merit questions, I think they change sometimes the grading of the questions. So it's just something that you need to keep in mind. New Lake, yeah, I think the book that I was using when I was last teaching MCAT was Walker because Walker had a really nice setup as well. Plus, I know the people; they're good people. Malika, we've got this question and two more questions, and then we are pretty much finished because unfortunately, I got introduced to a new anime show for the first time in nearly 20 years, so got hooked on it, and now I'm binge watching it in the night times. Anyway, let's go through 2B real quickly. So, Malik, I think you were working on 2B. So, because you got 9 and -4, that's going to be 3x minus 2 and 3x plus 2 equals to 0. So, I'm just going to fly through this. So, 3x minus 2 equals to 0. So, 3x equals to 2 and x equals 2/3. So, the other one there is going to be negative 2/3. Yeah, I got hooked onto Attack on Titan. So just watch I didn't realize that I started watching like one episode, and next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock and I've done like four episodes. But yeah, it's a good show so far. Yeah, see, I think that I'm trying to think. Yeah, that was a New Lake, wasn't it? They had some really crazy questions coming up. All right, guys, let's do question number 3, and then I want to get to that final question. Yeah. So again, I'm going to do this pretty fast, so bear with me. So what we've got here is 6 times 2, so that's going to be 12, and I'm looking for 12 and -7, two numbers, multiplying to 12 and adding up to 7, that's going to be -4 and -3. -4 plus -3 equals that. So I'm replacing -7 with -4 and -3. Yeah, no worries, Fusion. So we're moving on from 6x squared. I'm going to put in -4x minus 3x plus 2 equals to 0. Now, there was a reason why I actually put this particular one, because on the odd occasion, you're going to actually have like things where you have to actually kind of separate it. So yeah, I'll show you guys what I mean by. So in this case, we've got 6x squared minus 4x. So we've got 3x as a common factor. So which means we're going to get 2x, sorry, not 3x, what am I doing? 2x as a common factor, 3x inside, and plus minus 2 inside. All right. Now, however, if you have a look at if you look at minus 3x plus 2, you're going to get, you got to look at it, and this is what I meant by it. So in this case, you can't actually take 1 out, but you actually have to take -1 out, because when you take out -1, then the bracket is going to end up being 3x minus 2, and then now that's equal to 0. All right, so because we've got 3x minus 2 as a common factor, so there's one factor there, and where's the other one? It's right there. So we're going to separate this out. So we're going to get 3x minus 2 multiplied by 2x minus 1 equals to 0. And once again, the 2x is from there, and the minus 1 is from there. And of course, just to recap, the 3x minus 2 comes here because it's a common factor. Am I allowed to comment the answers? Of course you are. You can throw the answers. It's always good for us to actually have a chat about it, all right? So next thing is we've got 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Come back. Or 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So rearranging it, we're going to get 3x is equal to positive 2, and then x is equal to 2 over 3. In the other side, we've got 2x is equal to positive 1, and then x is equal to 1 over 2. So there's our two answers. So we can say that x is equal to 2/3 or 1/2. Okay, so that's basically question number 3. Let's go to any questions on question number 3, guys. Once again, I'll just chuck the numbers up there. 1, 2, 3. Is negative 2x plus 1 and negative 3x plus 2 equals 0 fine? Yep, that's fine, Hasnullah. That's not a problem, because the step 2 brackets have to be the same. Spades, ideally, yes. Whatever that you're having in step 2, the brackets have to be the same, because otherwise then you can't call it as a common factor and you can't take it out. Now, Hasnullah, your answer that you have, where you have negative 2x plus 1 equals to 0, or negative 3x plus 2 equals to 0. Now, if you were to rearrange this, see what happens. Negative 2x is equal to minus 1. X equals negative 1 divided by negative 2, which actually equals to positive half. And as for the other side, you got negative 3x equals minus 2. X equals minus 2 over minus 3, which means x is equal to 2 over 3. And what you get is the same answer. Spicy chicken? No, it should not matter. Except the orange bracket that you're going to get, you probably end up with 2x minus 1. No, you can do it either way, spicy chicken. You can do 6x squared minus 4x or 6x squared minus 3x. What you'll notice is that you won't get 3x minus 2 inside that orange colored bracket. Instead, if you do it with 3x, you're probably going to end up with 2x minus 1 as inside your bracket. Hopefully that made sense, man. All right, guys, I'm thinking that we're okay with this, and we're going to go into an excellence question right now, but it will be a build-up, so don't panic. You will have to kind of, it starts out with like an achieve part and then a merit part and an excellence part. So we'll build up with it slowly. Yep, got it, Spades. But as I said to you before, I won't be answering it right now, man. I'm just working through this. Okay, so we're going to do question number 4 here. Let me just grab it first. All right, guys. So this is possibly one of my favorite questions, but it yep, true, Evan. Yeah, they do end up having word questions, but the questions that we're doing today, like if you don't, how do I say it? Like we'll get to the word questions later on, but right now we're just working on the skills first before we get onto the word questions, because what ends up happening is that you might understand how to write the equation, and then you probably will, if you don't have the skill to solve it, then you're stuck there, and which means you're going to end up with getting just an achieve just for writing a equation. Yeah, no worries, man. I'll catch you later. Cool. So this is where we need to actually come up with equations. All right. So we've got a L-shaped, kind of like a composite shape right now. Spades, just be careful with that. I purposely wrote the question with 2 ways. So the first question that I've asked is find the perimeter. The second question is x plus 4. Yeah, the second question is find x if the area equals to 24. All right, so I'm not actually, yeah, so it's not going to work out like that the way you're thinking. Yep, got it, Fatima. Okay, so how do we actually go about doing this question? Now, the first thing that we have to do for perimeter is we actually have to find out the two missing sides. So if we're going to find the two missing sides, again, I'm going to show you guys with a couple of, I'm going to show you with just one method here. So this length here right now is 4x. That's my vertical length here. And then I've got blue here, which is equal to x. And the green part is the unknown. All right, that's the side. I don't know what it is. But what I do know is green and blue add up to yellow. All right, and if this is 4x right here, yellow is worth 4x, then green has to be 3x. So that's how I figure out what my first length is. Now the second one that I've got to do is figure out what's my next three colors I could use. Pink, orange, red. Okay, so the red part is worth x plus 4. The orange part is worth x. And the pink part is what I need to figure out what that pink length is there. So if red is equal to x plus 4, which means if I take this red, wow, wrong color. So if red is x plus 4 and orange is x, then the pink has to be just 4 by itself. All right, that is the first crucial step you guys actually need. And this is where people mess up so badly in this question. Now, this question is actually really, really easy, all right? But you have to get all the sides correct and you have to get the dimensions correct. And if you do that, this question ends up being one of the easiest excellence questions that you possibly could do, because they pretty much have it every year, but it's just a matter of how to actually set it up. All right, let me just have a quick look at people's questions. Blah, 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 4x squared plus x. I missed the pink part. Yeah. Malika, how do I get the 4? If you look at the red highlighted part, the red highlighted part is x plus 4. Now the orange and the pink has to add up to the red. All right, so if the orange and the pink has to add up to the red, if orange is x, then red minus orange, so red is x plus 4, minus the orange part, which is x, should give us 4. So that's how we get that 4. Hopefully that made sense, Malika. Now we're going to go work out the all the sides, and we're going to have to actually put it all together for the perimeter. All right, so I'm going to start from this x here, and I'm going to, well, maybe I shouldn't put an x. Let's choose like a green dot, and I'm basically going to go this way to write down all the stuff that I actually have. So then what I've got is my first length is 4x plus x plus 3x plus 4. All I'm doing is I'm just going clockwise, guys, plus x plus 4. So looking at it here, I've got 4 and 4, which makes it 8, 5x, 10x. So there we go. There is my perimeter at the moment. So my perimeter is equal to 10x plus 8. Now this question here, just finding a perimeter usually ends up being an achieved. Now we need to actually work out what the area is. Find x if the area is equal to 24. Now, I know some of you guys have actually started chucking in x equals to 2. I hope that you actually proved it and not just guessed and checked, all right? So we have to prove it, because without proving it, you will get just an achieved for this question. So how do we find x if the area is 24? Now, if you look at the L-shaped, I'm going to redraw the L shape here. And this is for part B of this question. So So what we can tell is, I'm just going to use different colors at the moment, folks, so just bear with me. So we've got this green part, which is actually worth 24 units. All right, so that's what the area is. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this, all right? So we can actually break the L shape into two rectangles, or we can take the L shape as a big rectangle minus the little rectangle. What do I mean by that? So let's say this. My big rectangle is going to look like this. So that's my big red rectangle right there. All right. Then I'm going to have a second rectangle, which is the yellow colored rectangle here. And I hope you guys can see it again. So basically what I'm trying to say is the big red rectangle, I'm going to find the area for that, minus the yellow rectangle, the little yellow rectangle, is equal to the green part of the L shape. So I should have actually done it. I hope that makes sense there. So that's what's happening there. All right, and it's really important that you guys actually show the working for this. Otherwise, you ends up not getting full grades for this. So first off, we're going to look at the red rectangle here. Now, if you look at the red rectangle, that's the full outside. We've got 4x and x plus 4. All right, so we've got 4x here and x plus 4. Next, we're going to look at the yellow rectangle, and that's the two sides we just found out, which was 3x and 4. So 3x and 4. And then the green area is actually worth 24. Yes, Evan, you can actually cut the rectangle into two parts as well. That's absolutely fine. You can do it that way as well. So yeah, I think the numbers that I chose was quite easy, but generally speaking, you'll see what I mean by the next question. It'll get a little bit, hopefully it gets a little bit more trickier, but there's more than one way to actually solve this, and I'm just showing you guys one method where it's fairly straightforward to kind of pick it up. But I'll show you guys a second method as well, the splitting the L into two parts. So what we've got here is we're going to have 4x multiplied by x plus 4 minus 3x times 4 equals to 24. All right, because how do we know this? It's basically base times height. So base times height for the rectangle, red rectangle, is base times height, gives us this. Base times height for the yellow triangle gives us this. So expand this out. What we're going to get is 4x squared plus 16x minus 12x equals 24. Now simplify this. We're going to get 4x squared plus 4x equals 24. Now, Ewan, well, I think I'll show you guys. Yeah, you're right. It will be easier, but when it comes to the yeah, I mean, it just depends, guys, which one works for you guys. So it really doesn't matter. And I'll show you both methods, as like I said. So next thing is we've got 4x squared plus 4x minus 24 equals to 0. We can now see that 4 is a common factor, so we can take it out. So we get x squared plus x minus 6 equals to 0. Then 4 goes to the other side, which means 0 divided by 4 is 0. And what we have is x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. This, as I said to you before, this was a nice question. So I wouldn't actually put this as a kind of E level because our quadratic was actually quite simple. So here I've got x plus 3, x minus 2 equals to 0. And I can say that x plus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. And what we have is x is equal to -3 or x is equal to +2. So it's really important that, like in this case, we actually say that x is equal to +2, as x can't be negative. Now, the L shape, splitting the L shape method, as these the other guys were actually talking about. So if you are going to cut the L shape into two, all right, now we're lucky because we have actually got all of our sides. So I think we had 4x here, x here, this one was 4, and then this one was x. So yeah, we could have actually cut it up together, because then what you have is 4x times x is 4x squared, and then 4 times x here is 4x. So we've got 4x squared plus 4x equals 24. And basically, yeah, that's where this question goes on from. So as you guys can see, I mean, like, there's more than one way to do these types of questions. So for you guys, it's more about, as long as you can set up some of these questions, um, yeah, you end up getting like easy merits with these questions, like whenever you see them. Can we move on, or do people have any types of questions anywhere? Because I've got one more question to do and then we're done, guys. Okay, last one. Where are we going? Oh. Okay, so last question here, folks. And by the way, this is a right angle triangle here. Voldemort. Oh man, can I just call you Voldemort? Voldemort. Sorry. All I'm going to say is this: like, it depends on the paper. Some papers they talk about 3E's. Sometimes they make it to 4E's. If it's like they try and kind of manipulate that based on how challenging people found the paper is. So it's just something that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so I'm going to leave this question for you guys for like a couple of minutes just to maybe have a crack at it. Um, yeah, so I'll give you guys maybe a minute to just have a play around with it, and then I'll go through the answers. I'm just going to get some water. Yes, Viggy, all of my streams are rewatchable. I'll actually put a link where you guys can find all my stuff, which is under level 1 MCAT revision. So if you are doing level 1 MCAT revision, just go binge watch this over the next 2 weeks during lockdown. I promise you, you should be ready for MCAT if you watch that. At least for an achieved, anyway. That's definitely an achieved. Now, guys, one little trick that I'm going to tell you guys in this is, if you were to try and split it up into like 3 shapes, it's going to be quite tricky. You could try and, yeah, so actually I'm just going to be quiet because sometimes people might have different ideas. So you guys just have a crack at it. All right, guys, I'm going to slowly go through this. It's been very quiet in here, um, just so that we can kind of see what's happening here. So pretty much the same little trick as what we did last time, but a few more extra bits this time. Oh, welcome, Eileen. And I think I might have actually pushed you guys into the deep end, but it's all right. Let's have a crack at this. X plus 2 again. What do you mean x plus 2? Trust me, when I come up with these questions, I try and keep like small numbers, but I'm curious how you did it, Ewan. No, x equals 2, yeah. Did you split it into 3 parts, or how did you do it? I'm curious. Or did you go the big rectangle minus the little triangle? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you did go big rectangle minus the little triangle. Yes, Fatima, you are right. X plus 5 minus 2x to get the height of the triangle. So I'm going to get started slowly, guys. So as you can see, x plus 5 is the height of this rectangle. And the blue part is the height of the triangle. And the green part is actually worth 2x. All right. So what we've got to do is we've got to go x plus 5 minus 2x. As I said to you, this is going to be quite ugly, these things, but that's just the way it is. So x minus 2x is negative x, or we can just write it as 5 minus x. So the height of the triangle is 5 minus x. So that's the blue part right there. Hopefully that made sense. Then I want to work out the base of the triangle. So what I've got here is I'm going to go red as x plus 8, pink as the 3x, and then orange is the base of the triangle. So in that case, I'm going to go x plus 8 minus 3x, which is going to give me 8 minus 2x as my orange part there. Hopefully I did that right, because I'm starting to get slow, but okay. So now what we can do is we can kind of say that that idea that we did before, which is the big rectangle minus, that's including the little triangle, minus the little triangle is equal to 64. So if we look at the big rectangle, we've got x plus 5, x plus 8. So we've got x plus 5 multiplied by x plus 8. So that's the base times height, minus half times base times height for the triangle is equal to 64. So actually, I'm just going to move this down. Sorry, guys. I know I should have done this a little bit better, but so for our triangle, what we have is the base is 8 minus 2x, and the height is 5 minus x. So because of that, we're going to get half multiplied by 8 minus 2x multiplied by 5 minus x equals to 64. Now, if you were to set this equation up like this, like how I've done here, just doing this part right here is going to get you an achieved. All right, so that's why I was trying to show you guys the importance of getting that sides and then putting that equation. So if you actually went down and said, okay, so I've got my big rectangle, which is all around, and then I've got my little triangle there, and equals 64. Just setting this up usually can get you an achieved. But what we are going to do is we're going to expand the brackets and simplify, getting it to a quadratic, solve the quadratic, and then we are pretty much done. So the first one is we're going to expand the bracket. So we've got x times x, which is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. 5 times x, which is 5x. And then 8 times 5, which is 40. So I'm going to simplify this really quickly on this side here. So I'm going to get x squared plus 13x plus 40. Now minus half. And I'm going to expand the brackets, these two brackets. So I've got 8 times 5. So 8 times 5, which is 40. And then 8 times negative x, which is negative 8x. Then I've got negative 2 times 5, which is negative 10x. And then finally, what have I got? Negative 2x times negative x, which is positive 2x squared. And all of that is equal to 64. So I've got x squared plus, let me just bring that down here. Minus half, and inside the bracket I've got 40 minus 18x plus 2x squared equals to 64. Now I've got to multiply that bracket with half, so which means I'm going to end up with x squared plus 13x plus 40 minus half of 40 is 20. Negative half times negative 18 is positive 9x, and then negative half times 2x squared is negative 2x squared, and all of this is equal to 64. So I got to collect all my like terms. So negative 2x squared and x squared is negative x squared. 13 and 9 is 22x plus, what have we got? 40. Plus 40. No, not 40, 20, sorry. My bad. I feel like I've done a mistake somewhere. I hope not. And all of this is equal to 64. Just sorry guys, I'm just double checking my work here. Something doesn't feel right. Why doesn't it feel right? It's all right, I'll just keep going. Let's see what happens. Now I need to get rid of that. Oh, here's the thing, right? I want to work with not 2x squared. Where's my mistake? Oh, there we go. That's right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Negative half of 2x squared should be x squared. Much better. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you. I thought something didn't look right. Okay, so let's do this now. So we've got negative, so the x squareds cancel out. We've got 22x plus 20 equals 64. So there we go. That's a lot better. 22x equals 64. Take away 20. And we've got 22x is equal to 44. And then x is equal to 44 divided by 22, which actually gives us x is equal to 2. Yeah, sorry guys, I think I picked another question where you didn't actually end up with a quadratic. That really sucks. But maybe when we get to quadratics 2, we'll actually get a question with some quadratics. Right, any questions with that one so far? If not, we're going to be pretty much wrapping up very shortly because I know I kind of went way over time today. I do apologize. Actually, Hasnullah, that wasn't like I made a mistake with that question. I should have actually worked it out because you're supposed to end up with a quadratic, not a linear equation at the end. That was my bad because I kind of made this question up about 10 minutes before the start of the tutorial. Thought it would work, but of course it doesn't. It's all right. Cool. If there is no questions, guys, we are coming back on, when are we coming back? We're coming back on Sunday. What happened to the 2x squared? So basically, when I went negative half times positive 2x squared, it becomes negative x squared. Arjun, all I'm going to say is, man, go check out that that playlist that I just put up earlier for Viggy. I'll put it up again here. There is pretty much a hell of a lot of revision material there. Yeah. Fletcher, that was my mistake here. This would be an excellence question if from this point onwards was actually a quadratic. If it was a quadratic, it would be an excellence question. But because I made this question up kind of in a rush, it shouldn't end up being a linear equation. When I say linear equation, you shouldn't get like one answer like this. You should end up with a quadratic. So that was just my mistake with playing around with the numbers. So I do apologize. Yeah, Hasnul, I don't know. I don't know if they would make that mistake. But guys, that's basically it. I will catch up with you on Sunday night, unless if anybody wants to come in for any other session. I don't know, might just um, Wiggy, it's more like towards the end that I start doing more excellence questions, man. But like if you have any particular excellence questions, just flick me an email, and then I can kind of like do individual videos for it, because that way people that want to do excellence question can just go and watch that. Yep, no worries. Merciless, all good. And I'll catch you guys on Sunday. I might actually put up one. I'll see how either tomorrow night or Saturday night goes. If I'm not doing anything, I might just come in for an early one. Otherwise, we'll aim for Sunday night. All right, guys, that's basically it. Thank you for attending and thank you for staying all this time. And I know I do appreciate it. It's pretty cool having, doesn't get boring. Lockdown doesn't get boring. I will catch you guys on Sunday.